to slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out. Who will care for the world out?
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you guys watching our videos. We have a couple things that we want to announce before we start the content. So in case you haven't watched, we just released our new van tour to celebrate 1 year in the van. 1 year. Happy anniversary. I know that's dorky.
It's sweet though.
But we have been in the van for 1 year, and we hit another milestone, which is over 12,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys watching our videos, and we appreciate your comments. We read them, and hopefully they're going to help shape our content moving forward. But I got to tell you, the decision for us to move into the van was a huge decision, and not one that we took lightly. We considered a lot of things before we decided on van life. We decided moving to
Thailand.
Mm-hmm. And we decided, we discussed traveling in an RV. We discussed traveling in a camper van. We discussed flying around and staying in Airbnbs. And we finally landed on van life for a number of reasons. But it was a huge decision for us. And along the way, we were very thoughtful about how we came to this decision. And really, it could all be boiled down to 7 questions. And so these 7 questions are what we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, but before we get to those 7 questions, we got a lot of new folks out there. So I just want to tell you just a little bit about us. So just over a year ago, we moved into this van. But what led up to that was, Kurt being in the rat race, me being, working here and there, and him traveling full time, coming home one day, sitting down on the couch and saying, Snow, I'm happy, but man, I'm miserable and I can't do this anymore. Let's move to Thailand. And I was like, whoa, slow down. But then we started to put a plan in place, and we went through these steps. And then 1 year ago, we turned our lives upside down, moved into a van, sold our house, everything we owned, said goodbye to friends and family, and hit the road. And over the past year, there's been some low points. There's definitely been some. There's been a lot of high points. It's been the best year of my life. And I would do it again tomorrow if I had the choice. But along that year, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of lessons learned. And I think that's why me and Kurt feel comfortable talking to you guys about this topic.
Oh, absolutely. And again, we put a lot of thought into these. So these are questions that we ourselves had to answer before we felt comfortable making a big decision like that. Yeah. So 7 questions. Number 1, do you have a spouse, kids, or pets?
Yeah. So these 7 questions are going to help you decide whether or not you could live in a van. So the first one is an easy one. If you said, no, I don't have a kid or a spouse or a significant other,
it's all about you.
Then you get to skip number 1 and move straight to question number 2. Yeah. But if there are other people that are going to be living in this van with you, or little fur people that are going to be living in this van with you, this needs to be a community project that you're about to go through. Everyone needs to be involved in answering these questions. And if your pet can't, which of course he can't talk and answer these questions, you need to keep him in your mind when you're answering the questions. The same thing for the little ones. And I would say, we don't have children, but I would encourage you, if you've got 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, let them be involved in this process. I think that's very important. This needs to be a team project.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're going to be coexisting in a small space. And so there's a lot of shared spaces. You're going to be consistently probably closer than you're used to. Although those of you who are going through COVID and homeschooling your kids, you're probably getting a little taste of it. But van life is that on steroids. So you want to consider, and this is going to come up in some of the other questions, but you want to consider whether or not, you can get along. And a lot of people question us about how we were going to do with that.
Yeah, friends swore we'd be divorced within 60 days. You're all wrong.
And number 2, your daily routine.
All right, so your daily routine, guys. And what this is for me and Kurt, I'll just start by saying we have extremely different sleep schedules. I am a night owl. I can stay up till midnight, surfing the internet, watching movies, just playing cards on my computer. Sometimes I'm up even later because I have a horrible time sleeping. But me staying up late like that gives me some by myself time. But that also means that I'm going to sleep in later. which
Yeah.
brings us to Kurt.
Yeah, and so that actually works out pretty well because that fact that she sleeps in, I get up early. I get up about 6 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever. So I can get up in the van, go about my business, cook some breakfast, go out for a nice long walk. And it gives us each a little bit of alone time. Lord knows she needs a little time away from me. And so that works out. But, you need to think about what your daily routine is and how that would affect you in the van.
I think a good way to maybe kind of get your wheels turning on this is to give a couple of examples. And one would be in our house, Kurt is the cook, which is fantastic. I do clean up, but he is basically our cook for all meals. And at home, that was fine. I could go take a shower. I could walk out back and sit on the porch. I could watch TV while he was cooking. But in a van, guys, our kitchen is in the middle of our van. So when Kurt says, I'm about to cook dinner, what that means is, Snow, wherever you're at, you're going to be there for the next 20 to 30 minutes. So if I'm up in the front of the van and I want to go back to the back and read a book in the bed or something, I need to move, because once he starts cooking, there's no moving to the bathroom or the bedroom from the front. So the small space will start to dictate your routines. And another example that people really might not think about, and for us, I think this is a pretty good example of, opening your mind up and thinking about all your needs. I get really bad migraines. And what that means is once, maybe twice a month, I'm going to go down for a day or two, and sometimes even 3. The only thing that helps them is a very dark room, quiet, and hot showers, and sleep. So when we were deciding whether we could live in a van, that was something we had to talk about, and we have to kind of have plans in place. And just because I go down doesn't mean Kurt's 2 or 3 days need to be ruined. So that kind of helped us do our layout of our van and have different spaces. So that's stuff to think about, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and along the lines of showers, and so let's just lump it all in as hygiene, but showers, using the toilet, brushing your teeth, cleaning up, all that stuff, again, is another consideration, because it's not as convenient as at home. So there's extra things involved with that, right? You don't just flush the toilet and everything goes away. And so how is that going to function? Some people don't have a bathroom. Some people don't have a shower. And so whatever is the right choice from you want to think about all those things. You want to think about what's your daily routine and how is it going to look in the van?
And privacy.
Yeah.
Privacy is, if you need some private time during the day, you need to plan for that, because in the van, that is very rare.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And the third thing you need to think about, question yourselves about, and discuss with your family is, what are your hobbies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So me, I am a self-declared professional Facebooker.
She is.
No, I do. I love staying in touch with my friends and family and people we've met along the journey in this van life thing. And I enjoy that. But the other thing I've always enjoyed doing is planning things. Not boring things. I like to plan fun things. Like I was always rounding up a group of our friends and trying to convince them to go to Whistler skiing for a week, and promising I'll plan everything. And coming up on Halloween, I am like, oh, that's it. Disco themed Halloween party. Convinced this guy to wear white disco pants and platform shoes. I will find a picture.
We'll look for the picture.
But I enjoyed that. And what happened is, I'm passionate about that, and that fits very well into van life travel. So my hobby could easily come with me in the van.
Yeah, and that's something you want to think about is, can your hobby come with me? So for me, I like doing a lot of things outdoor and indoor. We found ourselves in our life getting sort of comfortable or whatever. After I traveled all week, I'd come home and be exhausted, spend a lot of time on the couch. But I also like to get out and socialize with friends, go to ball games, things like that. And I especially like to travel. And some of those things, quite frankly, with work and everything that was going on, I really wasn't able to do. And so, van life really kind of gave me the opportunity to do those things.
Yeah, to get back to your passion.
Yeah. And so, what I would say is, you think about what are your hobbies. You don't want any of them to be where you can't do them because you're in a van. So let's say, for example, you're a carpenter and you love building cabinets and stuff. Obviously, there's not a bunch of room to put big saws and tools and other things in there. And so you don't want van life to steal from your passion. In fact, in my opinion, it should be a tool to help chase your passion or pursue some of those things that you're not able to do in your own conventional lifestyle.
For sure. Yeah. Perfectly said.
Yeah. And then number four before I look at my notes and make sure I was on the right number. Number 4, I'm not a very good counter. but number 4, do you work? What do you do? Or, what is your income source? And let me kind of explain that, what that means. The question here is it going to conflict with living in a van? So in my previous life, I traveled a lot. I'd get in a plane on Monday morning and travel throughout the week. I didn't always know when I was coming back. And so if you can imagine traveling around in a van and trying to figure out, okay, where am I going to take off from and where am I going to come back to? It just logistically didn't make sense. And so, you may have a job or a career where it does make sense. That's something you need to consider.
So mine just didn't really fit either. So my job was a construction consultant, and I would have to go across the whole state of Florida visiting construction sites several days a month and wearing construction gear like a hard hat, steel toe boots, the ugly orange vest, the whole 9 yards. That stuff, for one, is not going to fit in a van. And the other, I can't drive up on a job site in my house. That just didn't work. So that was okay because part of our plan was retiring from our lifelong careers, leaving that behind because we wanted to travel the world. So that was all okay, except for we still needed some income.
Yeah.
So we had to pick up a side gig, guys. We had to decide what we want to do. So we decided to do some online work, and we wanted it to be where we were somewhat flexible. As we've been traveling across the country and online and in van life forums, we've met a lot of people that are digital nomads. And some of them have a very flexible schedule, and some of them need to be connected to internet specific times during the week. We didn't want that. So we chose something where we have some freedom. Yes, we need internet connection, but we get to choose when. So these are the kind of things you need to think about if your job will fit into van life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a big consideration. What you don't want to do, what I strongly discourage you from doing, is just quitting your job or quitting your career and becoming a YouTuber expecting that you're going to be able to make a living doing that. It's a long climb and it's not worth it. So we have a little bit of savings that we're working off until we can actually get to a point where we're earning some income. But I would encourage you to have a financial plan before you decide to make the jump. You don't want to be living in a van broke. That's no
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that rolls us right into number 5, Kurt.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite topic, right? Money. So, what is your budget? So, typically in van life, or at least our experience in van life, has been that an annual budget is roughly about $20,000 or $30,000 a year, $400 or $500 a week. Now, naturally, that depends on your lifestyle and what you're spending your money on, but that would include stuff like, food, insurance, just your normal living expenses and all that rolled lumped together. And so when you consider the fact that, the van is both your home and your car, so you're consolidating those bills, it can actually be a little bit more economical than just
home
having
insurance,
a home.
Electric bills, phone bills, property taxes, all they adds up.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of people we've met along the way choose van life for that reason, to either save money or live, where they don't have to have quite as much income and still live a good life. But with that comes what we like to call a more simplistic lifestyle. So for us, part of our discussion before we decided van life is that could we live that kind of lifestyle? In our previous life, we went out every weekend with friends, we did dinners, we did social parties and kind of ran in a circle where that was the normal thing. And in van life, you're making a trade-off. We're not doing the fancy dinners and expensive wine anymore because, one, heels don't fit in a van, guys. There's no room for them. So, but two, we were choosing something different. We would rather, go on a tour and see some whales and bypass that steak dinner. So there's choices on your budget, choices that you need to discuss with whoever you're going to be living in the van with. And then that brings us right up to, not having high heels in the van and fancy clothes for fancy dinners rolls us right into number 6.
Yeah. Are you dependent on possessions?
Yeah. So every time I meet someone, that's not in the van life community and I tell them I live in a van, first thing they do is look at me and tell me I'm crazy, which is okay. But the next thing they do is say, well, where do you put all your clothes? And in my previous life, guys, I had a lot of clothes, way too many. I had a big walk-in closet with too many clothes, way too many shoes, and even more accessories. And when it came time to have our estate sale and get rid of everything, getting rid of that stuff was easy. But what I want you guys to do is stop and kind of look around, and what do you have in your home that you're emotionally attached to? An example may be, some piece of artwork you brought home from your honeymoon. That's probably not going to fit in your van. For me, I didn't realize I had anything like that until we were getting ready for the estate sale, and I had the mini breakdown in our garage when I opened up our Christmas decorations. And guys, I had 20 years of Christmas decorations, different themes, and I got choked up. And I still do a little bit because I loved decorating our home top to bottom. I went way over the top. But going through those Christmas ornaments and trying to sort them out on the table just to sell in a garage sale really started pulling at my heartstrings bad. Ended up packing them all back up. I had to have some discussions, with myself on whether I could do this or not. Ended up with a good ending. I gave all my Christmas decorations to my wonderful niece Harley, so they're in very good hands. But I had to ask myself, could I go without a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
So ask yourself, whatever's important to you, can you do without it?
Yeah, and so, I guess it was naivety or whatever, but, the irony is that when we went into this, I'm not sure we completely thought about a minimalistic lifestyle, but that's really what this is. As we were going through and selling all our stuff and downsizing, it really was kind of liberating. And I can tell you, this is a minimalistic lifestyle. I mean, we could probably name everything that's in the van between Snow and I, because everything that you have in the van, space is key. So everything you have in a van is a decision. And so, your connection to material things should be weighed out. We've had a lot of friends approach us and say, we can never do that. We can never get rid of our stuff, whatever that kind of stuff is. And so something definitely to consider.
You've got to think about that. That's a very important part of deciding whether you can live in a van.
And number
7.
7. And this might sound a little bit cliche, guys, but why do you want to live in the van? Know your why. Know what's important to you and what's driving you. So for me, I wanted to get out of the rat race. I was tired of spending a majority of my life in a hotel or in a plane away from snow. We really wanted to do some travel. We wanted to travel the world together. We'd always travel and go on vacations or whatever, and they were cut short, never as long as we wanted to. For that. So we wanted to change that. We wanted to travel the world together. And then we wanted to be able to find a way where we could generate some income that would complement those two things so that we could go on and we could pursue our passion. And I think that's kind of one of the important things that you need to think about in van life. What is your why?
Yeah. So obviously we had a very strong desire to travel, and that made the sacrifices we've made to live in a van worth it. And there are sacrifices, but there's sacrifices to living in a house, there's sacrifices to living in an apartment, and yes, there's sacrifices, arguably bigger sacrifices, to living in a van. But what you have to ask yourself is what you're gaining better than what you're sacrificing to live in a van?
Yeah.
And if you can say yes to that, then come on out here and join us.
So those are the 7 questions. Yeah. And I would challenge you guys, if you're thinking about it, dreaming about it, about to jump in, run through those questions. We're probably going to come out with a video on how to design a van that's going to fit your needs and your desires. Yeah. And a lot of it will be based on this foundational work that you do of really trying to figure out what it is that you want and figuring out if you can actually live in a van. We appreciate you guys joining us in our videos. We hope you got some value in this. Come join us in van life.
Yeah.
If it's right for you.
Yes. Yeah.
We hope to see you on the next one.
Yeah. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, and we absolutely love your comments.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
If you liked this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when we put out new videos. To see behind the scenes action and help support our journey, head over to our YouTube membership page. You can find the link in the video description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in a few days.